What's up, Calvary students? Thanks for joining another 5-minute devotion. If you remember last week's 5-minute Devo, we went over the Old Testament connecting to the New Testament. And if the Bible is not true, if it's just this fairy tale that was written one day, then there's no reason to believe that any of those prophecies would connect and be fulfilled if all of this is just a fictional book. So today we're going to go over why the Bible is true. 2 Timothy 3:16 actually tells us that all scripture is God-breathed. So it wasn't a man-made book. While men did write the Bible, whether it was the Apostle Paul or Moses, it was inspired. They were inspired by God. God was the force behind the pens writing these books. So the Bible is a very unique book. It has 40 authors written over a time span of over 1,500 years in Greek, Aramaic, and in Hebrew. So it would be very difficult for this book to be written as some kind of fictional fairy tale because these people didn't come together to collaborate. There wasn't a meeting where they all came together to write the Bible. It was written throughout time, and there's no contradictions in Scripture. There's no plot holes. If you think of your favorite movie, TV show, book, there's a couple of people. Mine's Star Wars. George Lucas came up with this all by himself. And just with those few movies, they had to come up with prequels to explain everything else. But Scripture doesn't need that because it was all written, it was all inspired by God. And so what I kind of want to hit, the point that really blows my mind personally is the manuscript evidence that we find in the Bible. You find in Matthew chapter 24, verse 35, Jesus says that heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not. I have this stack right here of copy paper and this tiny little stack of copy paper to represent the manuscripts that we have found of the Bible. And here, this is 40,000. This represents the 40,000 ancient manuscripts we found of the Bible. And this is the second most ancient manuscripts we found, and it's the writings of Homer. If you've read the Iliad and the Odyssey, whether it was on your own leisure or I had to read them in high school, you might be familiar with who Homer is. And in the Bible's case, that they're up to a liberal number to throw out is about 98% of it is accurate, 2% errors. Some people would go as far as 99.5% accurate of all of the manuscripts being translated accurately, while Homer's are about 90%. And the things that are not accurately translated in the Bible don't change the message or the meaning, anything theologically. It would just be somebody forgot to dot an I, cross a T, or a spelling mistake or something like that. So that's what makes Scripture so unique, is that we've got all these different authors, all this time, all these different languages, no contradictions. We have overwhelming evidence with eyewitness testimonies of people who actually saw Jesus, lived with Jesus, walked with Jesus, talked with Jesus, and they wrote it down. And we can find it. And that's not even what we have lost, because there's a chance that throughout history, manuscripts have been, paper doesn't last super long. So it's possible that manuscripts have been lost, whether it's trashed or burned up because of a fire or something like that. But we have found 40,000 manuscripts. So thanks for coming to this devotion, going over just the manuscript evidence. And next week, in our 5-minute devotion, we're going to talk about the historical proof for Scripture being true, kind of a part 2 for this. But we are going to be continuing our evidence for God. So thank you once again for joining. We'll see you next week.